83,000 home foreclosures so far in 2026 for January and February. 84,000. Over 40,000 in February 2026 and over 42,000 in January 2026. I will remind you that a foreclosure will happen when a homeowner doesn't make payments for 120 days, which is 4 months. Why are homes being foreclosed on? Well, we have almost 8 million people unemployed. 1 out of 4 people has been unemployed for 27 weeks or longer. Gen Z unemployment is 11%. African Americans, specifically women, are over 8%. If people don't have jobs, they cannot pay their bills, they cannot spend in the economy, and that is why we're seeing an economic collapse right in front of our eyes.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is why you miss out on opportunities to buy if you are wanting to get onto the housing ladder. All these folks are reading scripts or news articles and trying to sound like they're very, very in the know, giving you credentials that mean nothing and stats that don't add up because they know most folks aren't going to go and do their research. So today I'm going to show you some information that you can use to get onto the housing ladder. I'm not talking to those of you that don't. If you don't want to, keep it moving respectfully. All of the rest of you guys that are waiting for home prices to go to zero and you're going to buy $1 million property and you don't have to pay for anything, again, this video is not for you. Keep it moving. I digress. She mentioned a couple of things. 83,000 foreclosures. Sounds like a lot. I'm going to show you where to look so you can determine if that's a lot. Number 2, she says that you'll be foreclosed on at 120 days. That's not true either. Foreclosures start there, but most don't get to the actual foreclosing. If you think I'm wrong and you don't agree with me, go down to the comment section and express yourself. Just do so at an adult level. No ad hominem attacks, and stay focused. Be respectful, express yourself, and try to address the topic of the video. And the topic of this video is, she don't know what she's talking about. Y'all better quit listening. Let's go. We're just going to do a little Googling. We'll look at Gemini, which is an excellent large language model for research, because a lot of you are not in the business. So when you hear foreclosure, you're thinking as soon as a house is foreclosed on, folks got to get out. So here's the deal. A foreclosure start is the formal initiation of a legal or contractual proceeding by a lender to seize a property after a borrower defaults on mortgage payments. Here's where the rubber meets the road. Typically, this occurs after 3 missed payments, 90 to 120 days, which she alluded to. Now, this begins with a notice of default. So after that 120 days, you get a notice of default, giving the borrower a limited time to pay the debt, 20 to 30 days, before further action. I'm just going to stop right there. When you hear foreclosure and you're on the sideline waiting to buy, what you may hear is, I'm about to get a deal because there's going to be all these houses coming on the market. All you have to do is pay attention to your local market, and you can see by either going to Zillow. You can watch the video that we did earlier this week on how to use Zillow to find a lot of this information out so you don't have to talk to a salesperson, but you can see what the inventory is in your local market. And what you'll find is there has been an uptick of inventory, which is a good thing for you as a buyer. But if you're listening to people like this, thinking that there's going to be a deluge of foreclosures coming on, consequently producing a bunch of great purchase prices, then you're misled and you're going to be on the sideline another 2-3 years. And home prices in most markets are going to increase 1 to 3%, which is par for the course because it's tied to inflation. This is the first thing I wanted to dispel and just give a AI answer as to what inflation is. Now, here's the second place I want to go. She talked about housing market issue and homeowners are going to have a problem. Now, I agree with a lot of stuff that's going on. Folks are being pinched, but here's the deal. The majority of people that this is going to affect negatively don't even own homes. And you might say, Robert, how do you know that? You know what? Let me jump over here. See, we do this on a daily basis. These are a lot of YouTube comments. And what I found in these comments is this: most of these people that believe what this lady is saying and that always have negative things to say and are false prophets, they don't own houses. Heck, a lot of them probably don't even have a job and they're not looking for one. And most of the folks that are complaining are looking for something for nothing. But I want to sound the trumpet to those of you that are serious about buying. Let me define serious: gainfully employed, filed your taxes, credit scores are decent, you pay your bills, you save some money. Those types of folks, not people that want to get on YouTube and troll and complain about things not being fair. This is what qualifies me, because we get thousands of comments a week, a lot of them good, but a lot of them are BS. This is why I'm saying what I'm saying, to try to help those of you, again, that are on the housing ladder. Now, going back to this AI overview, as of early 2026, there's approximately 64 to 65% of American households that own a home. I said all that to say a majority of that 8 million people that she alluded to, a lot of them Gen Z, teenagers, they don't own homes. You got to go a little deeper into the numbers. And again, why this is important, if you're on the sideline thinking all of these homes are going to come on the market, like back in 2008 to 2013, I was in the business, and I've not once told you what type of degrees that I have. Who cares? Do you have real world experience in the topic? Do you have domain expertise? She doesn't. But again, most people will hop online with the fear, because as the attention goes, the money flows, unfortunately. But there's a lot of folks. There's over 83 million owner occupied units. Fun fact, 38 to 40% of those units are free and clear. They don't owe anybody a mortgage. And then a large chunk of the folks that do have interest rates below 3%. A lot of the inventories that's coming on in certain markets is new inventory. There's a lot of videos out here about new inventory, and you can be the judge of where you are as to the quality. New doesn't mean better, but that's relative. I digress on that point. Where are all of these discounts coming from? They're not. These folks are just talking, and it could cause you to miss out on the buyer's market that we're in. Watch this. HUD Home Store. What is HUD Home Store, Robert? This is the place where Housing and Urban Development has taken the houses back and now are putting them back on the market to sell. This is where they go. I pulled up the state of Texas. There's a whopping 116 properties listed that have been foreclosed on. And my point is, there's only 116, right? Now, back in 2008 to 2013, there were approximately 5 million foreclosures were completed. 5 million. If you guys were looking for that come up back then, that's when you should have been buying. And a lot of you guys are old enough to have bought back then, but you got the same mindset. You were listening to the wrong people, and most of us do it wrong. We buy high and sell low. You see, when there's blood in the streets, as the old saying goes, this is when you come up on a deal. But then you have to understand what a deal is. Folks have a lot of equity, but it's not your entitlement to get that equity because you should have bought back then. This is when you should have purchased if you were looking for those deep discounts. Those that know. Now watch. 2026. We're in early 2026, 78 days in? And it says right here, foreclosure activity continued a gradual upward trend. 38,840 property filings for foreclosure in February, the beginning of the process. It takes another 60 days to actually foreclose on. And I just showed you HUD has a whopping 116 homes in Texas. And the reason I'm showing Texas is that's one of the markets that everybody's talking about. The sky is falling. That's not true. It's not true. Let me calm down. I'm a little frothy today. I want you guys to understand, if you're on the sideline, you got to listen to the right people. Let's read some more. Annual foreclosure filings and completions. Foreclosure data often distinguishes between filings, notice of defaults, or auction, and completed foreclosures, properties that actually get repossessed by the banks or HUD. So right here in 2008, there were approximately 2.33 million properties received at least one foreclosure filing. This represented 1.8% of all U.S. housing units, or 1 in every 54 homes. The banks repossessed more than 850,000 properties in that year. 2009, it reached 2.8 million properties, 21% increase over 2008, so on and so forth. Again, guys, we're not in that area. No disrespect, but when you see folks like the lady that we just watched, you really need to take it with a grain of salt and ask yourself, have I done the research in my local market so that I can get the best information possible to make the best decision for me and my family in this market? And stop listening to all of the doom and gloom. It's a business model. If you want to get onto the housing ladder, you're in luck. I'm a lender. My NMLS license number is 180100, and I would love to have a conversation with you. My contact information is in the top pinned comment and the description of this video. My time is up, but I thank you for yours. As I always say, guys, let's be good to one another. Let grace abound. Watch these next 2 videos here. They'll help you in your education as you prepare yourself to achieve the goal of home ownership. And for the rest of you guys, indeed, y'all stay blessed.